In 2011, a man named Wayne Forrester drove 40 miles to kill his estranged wife. She had changed her Facebook status to single. He had spent weeks planning every detail. In his statement to police, he said he finally felt calm the moment he decided to act. That is what revenge does to the brain. It does not feel like rage. It feels like relief. It feels like justice. It feels like power returning to someone who lost it. But here is the part no one tells you. That feeling is a trap. And the architects of that trap are not your enemies. They are inside your own mind. So why does revenge feel so right? And why does getting it leave so many people more broken than before? This channel exists to give you the knowledge that most people are never handed. Not because it is hidden, because it is uncomfortable. The psychology of revenge sits at the intersection of neuroscience, power, and human nature. Understanding it does not make you weak. It makes you dangerous in the right direction. What you are about to learn will explain why intelligent people destroy their own lives chasing payback. It will show you how that impulse is weaponized against you. And it will reveal the single shift in perception that separates the powerful from the consumed. Pay close attention. This is one of those topics that changes how you see yourself. Here is what is happening in your brain when someone wrongs you. The anterior insula activates. This is the region tied to physical pain. A social betrayal registers in the same neural architecture as a broken bone. That is not a metaphor. That is measurable, documented biology. Your brain does not distinguish cleanly between a punch and a humiliation. Both register as threat. Both demand a response. Now enter the striatum, the brain's reward center. Researchers at the University of Zurich placed subjects in economic betrayal scenarios. When those subjects imagined punishing the person who cheated them, the striatum lit up, the same region activated by food, sex, and money. Revenge feels like reward because neurologically, it is processed as one. Your brain is not malfunctioning when it craves payback. It is running an ancient program, one designed for a world where social standing meant survival. Lose status in the tribe, lose protection. Lose protection, lose everything. The man who humiliated you in front of others did not just bruise your ego. Your brain registered it as a survival threat, and survival threats demand resolution. This is why revenge fantasies feel so vivid. Your mind rehearses them like a rehearsal for actual action. It is preparing you. The problem is, the world you live in is not the one that program was written for. Acting on it now rarely restores what was lost. But the drive does not care about outcomes. It only cares about release. Here is where it gets darker. Psychologists call it the empathy gap. When you are wronged, your capacity to accurately predict how you will feel after revenge collapses. You imagine the moment of payback with perfect clarity. You can almost feel the satisfaction. But research consistently shows that people who actually get revenge report significantly less relief than they anticipated. A study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that participants who took revenge on someone who hurt them ruminated more about the incident afterward, not less, because revenge keeps the story alive. Forgiveness, or more precisely indifference, closes the loop. Revenge leaves it open. Think about that. Every time you imagine retaliating, you are not moving away from the wound. You are revisiting it, deepening it, giving it more of your attention and energy. The person who hurt you may have moved on completely, They may not think about you at all. While you are building architecture in your mind dedicated entirely to them. This is the psychological paradox no one warns you about. The pursuit of revenge transfers power from you to the person who wronged you. Your focus, your time, your emotional bandwidth, all redirected towards someone you claim to hate. Marcus Aurelius wrote about this in his private journals, not as philosophy, but as practical self-defense. He noted that the man who cannot control his response to injury is controlled by the one who injured him. He was describing neuroscience 17 centuries before we had the tools to measure it. Now, consider how this is used against you deliberately. Certain personalities, particularly those with narcissistic or dark triad traits, understand this mechanism intuitively, even if they cannot name it scientifically. They provoke, they insult, they betray in ways carefully calibrated to feel personal. And then they wait. Because a person consumed by the desire for revenge is a person who has stopped building. They have stopped advancing. Their attention is fixed backward. Someone who wants to neutralize you does not need to defeat you. They just need to wound you enough that you wound yourself in the response. Political operatives understand this. Cult leaders understand this. Manipulative partners understand this. The provocation is the weapon. Your reaction is the ammunition. The most dangerous thing you can do to someone who wants to see you spiral is refuse to engage. Not from fear, from clarity. Controlled strategic disengagement is not weakness. It is the most lethal form of dominance available to you. When you disappear from the conflict entirely and redirect that energy toward building your own life, you do two things simultaneously. You deny them the reaction they engineered, and you compound your position while theirs stagnates. This is not passivity. This is warfare conducted at a level most people never reach. The highest form of revenge, as the saying goes, is living well. But that phrase is usually dismissed as a consolation prize. It is not. It is a precise description of what actually transfers power back to you. Now here is the part that reframes everything you just heard. Remember the open loop from the beginning. Why does revenge feel like relief before you act? Here is the answer. You were never really seeking to hurt the other person. You were seeking to restore your sense of self. The injury of betrayal or humiliation attacks identity. It attacks your internal narrative, the story of who you are and how the world responds to you. Revenge feels like relief because the brain interprets it as identity restoration, as proof that you matter, that you have power, that the story of your defeat is not the final chapter. But here is the truth underneath that truth. You can restore your identity without them. The power you felt you lost was never actually taken. It was only obscured by the pain. The moment you redirect that energy inward toward competence, discipline, and construction, the identity restores itself, not as a fantasy, as a reality that no one can take from you. The people who emerged from deep betrayals as more formidable, more respected, more dangerous in the best sense, they did not do it by settling scores. They did it by making the score irrelevant. When you build something that dwarfs whatever was lost, the person who wronged you becomes a footnote, not by force, by scale. The psychology of revenge is one of the most ancient and sophisticated traps in human experience. Knowing it does not make you immune, but it gives you the one thing that changes everything, the moment between the wound and the reaction. Use that moment wisely. If this opens something in you, If it gave you a frame you did not have before, leave a like. It tells the algorithm, this kind of content matters. Subscribe if you want to keep going deeper. There is more to understand about power, influence, and the architecture of the human mind. And we are just getting started. I will see you in the shadows.